G'day guys, I came across this website that actually was just talking about the Game Changer movie and some of the comments that were made on that movie, which was really interesting. And I found a blog that a nutritionist put down, and she actually looked at some research and did the comparison, and it wasn't exactly what they were claiming. But anyway, we'll get into it. I'll just share my screen. So, do humans have GI length similar to that of carnivore animals like lions? Not quite. Well, why would we? We wouldn't have the same for the simple reason that we have a different evolutionary tree that we've followed. So that's sort of irrelevant because they're talking about the game changers and stuff like that, and the arguments. And this nutritionist here left a comment, Juliana Taylor, nutritionist, and Julianne basically just wrote this. The Game Changer movie used two science advisors, Dr. Michael Greger. Well, Michael Greger is not a scientist. He's never done any research. And on the other hand, he's never practiced medicine either, even though he's a doctor by training, but never practiced it. So he went straight into the nutritional field, or as I call it, the vagoonerized propaganda field. And this other guy, David Goldman, he's no important scientist or anything, and has really no. He's just another vagoon out there. I think he's an naturopathic doctor or something like that, along those lines. So, but don't quote me. I'm not exactly sure about his qualifications. So I was surprised when I fact checked a graphic they used to find it is incorrect. The graphic in this one showing the human intestine 15 times longer than the human body. So lions have about 4 times their length, their digestive tract from the mouth to the anus. And they claim that humans have a length from the mouth to the anus of 15 times. So she went away, looked into this. She came across this study in PubMed, which covers physiology. And she's basically saying it's a bit tricky measuring live people's intestines. They measure 100 males and 100 females to see if the length of the intestine correlates to the height. What they actually found was that it was more closely correlated to weight, which is interesting in itself. So, which doesn't surprise me because it's the animal size, which is the weight of the animal, not the height of the animal or the length. It's the actual size that is going to make. That's what we notice with the expensive tissue hypothesis about, bigger brains, smaller guts, all these sort of things has to do with the volume of the physiology, so even there they got it wrong. So obviously we will move on. So this is an anatomical study of the length of human intestines, and the post-mortem average length of the whole intestine was 795.5 plus or minus 129 centimeters, and was significantly longer in men and in younger subjects. Obviously, the nutritional requirements of men is higher, and younger people also, because they're growing. So, in that regard, eventually they get to the size and then everything sort of settles down from growing. So if we take a human of 170 centimeters, and I'll just, so people are aware what that is. So that's 5 minus 5 times 12. So that's nearly about 5'7". So So about somebody around about 5'7". This means that of an average, the length of our intestine is 4.6 times. Got it? 4.6 times, just slightly. Oh, go away. Oh, you don't want the tweet. God, sorry about that. So it's 4.6 times the human body, a long way from 15 times. And she's correct, because that's what the research shows. And obviously the game changers use this, which is basically deceptive, and flies in the face of what physiology is showing. Actual research and an anatomical study of the length of human intestine, well, that quite clearly shows a different a length which is closer to that of the lion. Surprise, surprise. And we know from the expensive tissue hypothesis, which is another study which is looking at the size, if your gut is bigger, your brain's going to be smaller. And if your brain's bigger, your gut's going to be smaller. The reason for that is because both require a lot of energy. And so you have to reduce the amount of energy. This is why we shifting to animal foods allowed us to build bigger brains. We could actually absorb more nutrition to support bigger brains without the high cost, the high energy cost required to acquire that extra nutrition. That's what animal foods give you, a high nutrition. Vegan diets are basically more akin to something like a fasting mimicking diet. You can't thrive on a fasting mimicking diet. Simple as that. So it didn't surprise me at all that she would find, and she's not a carnivore nutritionist or anything like that. She's just an average nutritionist that's looked into this, and probably I wouldn't be surprised if she was even vegetarian looking at this, because she had an interest in, because most of the rest of us only had looked at this for polemic reasons. We didn't look at it out of interest. So she wouldn't be a carnivore supporter, but at the same time, she's done us a bit of a good service here by pointing out the damn obvious, that these people misrepresent the data, misrepresent information about human physiology, and they do it deliberately because they have an agenda to push. For them, it's all about pushing. It doesn't matter what you do. And this is why you see a lot of these vegans and all that, they use sophistry and they use double talk and stuff like that to confuse people. And they use epidemiology, junk science, because that's the only way they can actually argue their point. They don't want to. Actually, to some extent, they know, but they don't care, because they've got this misanthropic attitude that humans are a plague on this planet. And we need to, we're the problem. This is fundamentally, you find that those who go into extreme veganism end up becoming really hostile misanthropists and depopulation supporters. Shouldn't surprise anyone, So that is the end game for these people, and the thinking. It really goes into a dark, evil mindset. So for them, to lie would be even, comparison to having the sort of thoughts about depopulation and stuff like that, which is, for me, is quite disturbing. But it doesn't surprise me. These extremists, let's not forget Hitler was a vegetarian, and many of these people that were on the far left and far right have either been vegetarians, vegans, or these sort of things, and they tend to be extremists as well. So it doesn't surprise me at all. And the human sacrifice for them seems to be the norm. Anyway, hope you had a bit of fun with this one. See yous.